Just to rehash a bit from part 1 of the story, I had a 14 by 20 falling down carriage shed. I dreamed of a real garage and shop, so after spending years of planning and saving, I tore the old one down to have a new larger one built. The approved structure is 10 feet tall and 23 by 30 in size. I had actually wanted a 24 by 30, but had to sacrifice a foot to the gods of zoning. I was really detailed in my instructions for the lift footings, because you only get one chance at this, and so I wildly over-engineered them. The contractor's dirt guy had multiple issues, and the footing holes were off. I had to redo them one evening after work, and after the visqueen and welded wire went in, the spec rebar for the footings was also incorrect. So I laid out a 1-foot grid at the bottom of each footing hole on plastic slab chairs, and redid the rebar on top of the footing as well. At the same time, I added a bunch of plastic chairs under the welded wire because they were nowhere near enough to keep it up during the pour. The slab was a monolithic pour with 18-inch footings and a field depth of 6 inches. Overkill, but I wanted to future/idiot-proof it for any future builds or things I would do in it, on it, around it, that sort of thing. After a 10-day wet cure period using a commercial poly burlap material and lots of sprinklers, I then poured a densifier onto the concrete, something called the Ashford formula, which was recommended by a dear friend that's a structural engineer who builds mostly tilt-up concrete structures. This product reacts chemically with the concrete and actually grows crystals down into the slab. The walls of the garage are 2x6 construction with CDX plywood sheeting. My contractor was not going to add any fire block. Apparently, code in our area states that the walls have to be over 10 feet before block is required, and my walls sit exactly at 10 feet. I don't care to build any structure to the minimum of code. I want it done the right way, and fire blocks, regardless of wall height, are the right way. So I cut them to size out of scrap and employed child labor one late afternoon to install them all. My 15-year-old son actually installed them all with the help of an impact driver and some 3-inch screws and did a fine job. Half the roof is built with scissor trusses to allow for a greater than 12-foot ceiling height under the 2-post lift, and the other half has a flat ceiling with attic storage trusses. I used Carlisle WIP self-sealing roofing instead of felt, and then I used a 30-year algae-resistant shingle, which is really important here in Seattle. The lift is a Rotary Revolution RPT-10, which has a 10,000-pound capacity. I got a great deal on it and the install, or I would have never been able to afford such a luxury in a garage built at home. After everything was painted, I love red doors as you can see, and the gutters installed, I rebuilt the wooden fence on the side yard and in the backyard out of lumber that the old fence was built out of. I even reused the coated deck screws that I pulled out of the original fence. I did have to buy new posts and lots of concrete, but that was about it. While backing up to unload concrete and posts for the fence, I barely tapped the corner of the garage with my utility trailer. Not a single scratch, dent, or ding in either, but it made me say dirty words. I put my thunking cap on and decided that if I did it once, I would do it again, and someone else would surely, definitely smack the corner. So a bollard was in order. I was out on the fresh slab one night, moving around the curing cover, the boards holding it down, and the soaker hoses, when I smacked myself in the side of the head with a wet 2x6. I mean, really effing hard right behind the temple. I saw stars and staggered around holding the side of my head, saying the F word loudly, over and over and over in kind of a machine gun staccato manner. It was just all that would come out of my mouth. My wife didn't see the initial self-inflicted assault, just me wobbling around and the apparent sudden affliction of Tourette's. I stumbled in the kitchen door a few minutes later, and she said, over her shoulder while standing at the sink, "I'm sure the neighbors will be glad when your little playhouse is built, so they won't have to listen to all the dropping F-bombs." I was about to take gross offense of her characterization of the physical culmination of all of my fabrication dreams as a little playhouse, when I realized that she had just provided the perfect name. The F-bomb garage was born.